Okay.
All right. Hey, what's up, guys? I just had an idea hit me in the shower this morning, and so I just wanted to like spitball it or throw it off the top of my head to you here. And there's a reason I'm doing it into a video, and I'll get to that in just a second. But what I'm thinking is we've got this really challenging situation in front of us as an organization, and there's many reasons it's challenging, but like two major reasons that I'm thinking of is number one, it's really hard to figure out how to do distance learning, to do it well, and to feel like you're doing it well, and to feel good about everything that's happening. And I was thinking about Cheryl Hines, and in the meeting yesterday, how she was talking about, you know, the parents won't cooperate and they won't get the kid up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and how do you wrangle this whole thing? It's like we need solidarity and cooperation and teamwork between us and the parents, and it's just this really challenging thing to figure out. So there's this great level of frustration that the teachers are dealing with, understandably so, and perhaps even more so in special ed than community schools, although now that I think about it, probably all across the board. It's really hard to figure out how to make this work. So teachers are going to be frustrated. They probably already have been, but we're even getting more serious, you know, with all this tracking and everything. So it's even going to be more intense. So that's one challenge. That's one focal point. The second focal point that I can think of is the fact that teachers are going to have to be tracking all of this information and not only figuring out the systems and how to do things. They figured out some of that in this past 4 months with Zoom and everything, but even at a higher level. And then they're going to have to be entering all this information into the spreadsheet. And that's, you know, on one hand, that's not that big of a deal. That's not that hard. But on the other hand, psychologically, it may be overwhelming for any number of reasons. Like, oh, I'm being tracked on all of this sort of stuff, and it's compounded by the fact that they might not feel like they're doing a good job. And so you've got those two things together that are really, like, I'm thinking there's going to be a large tendency for people to go into a mindset, for teachers and perhaps parents, but mainly teachers, to go into a mindset of overwhelm, of frustration, sometimes even that fear of being held accountable to stuff, you know, and that tracking spreadsheet brings up that fear for some people. So you've got, I think you're going to have this, you know, for a lot of people, maybe even for the majority of people. I know it's a bell curve, and you got some people that step up to the challenge, and you got some people that really don't, but you got a lot of people in the middle. And I think fear, frustration, and overwhelm is going to be one of their psychological predominant states. And so I was like, well, what's the focal point going to be of all that frustration? You know, where's that really going to come to a head? And I was just thinking that entering all the data into the spreadsheet at the end of the day, the first day, the second day, for that first week perhaps, is a place where it really might bring the whole gestalt of everything to a head, and where their frustration might really hit hard with, oh my God, I got to deal with all this stuff and I can't figure it out, and now they've got me doing all this, and I can be held accountable for this, and what is that going to mean? And you know, it seems like the spreadsheet, the tracking system, is going to be a focal point for the frustration. So what I thought is, wouldn't that be a perfect place for leadership? Like, wouldn't that be the perfect time? You know, if you picture yourself as a teacher, if you picture that teacher as a kid who's frustrated, and the parent comes in at just that point of frustration and then is loving and gives loving communication and guidance and support right at that point of frustration, that's like the most healing opportunity in a situation where a kid is really frustrated with something. So I'm like, how could we apply the most leadership, the most support, the most love at that point when it matters the most? When, you know, as principals and as us, you know, in the central office, we're not in front of all of these 300 teachers that first day that they're putting stuff into the spreadsheet. Hopefully perhaps the day before or the day before that was their first day back to school, and maybe they had a Zoom meeting with their principal, and maybe the principal set the tone of the challenge that we're up against, which is all awesome. But wouldn't it be great to reinforce that message right when the frustration, right when the rubber meets the road, in a sense? So what I was thinking was, the same way that I'm talking to you right now, which is really long-winded, so I'm not suggesting something quite like this, but wouldn't it be cool if when the teachers get that first email from their principals saying, we're going to be tracking all this stuff, like you heard about in our back to school meeting yesterday or something, here's the email, here's the link to the spreadsheet. Wouldn't it be cool if it took them to a page that had a video with the link below the video, but the video was this leadership opportunity for some of us or all of us to, like, I guess shift the tone, like acknowledge the potential frustration and challenge, but shift the tone. I've got some notes here. Where did I see it? Where did I say this here? Like, it'd be a great time to sort of frame it as this is a tremendous challenge that we're up against. We can really rise to that challenge by coming together. It's an opportunity for solidarity. It's an opportunity for all hands on deck to really help each other with this challenge, with your fellow teachers at your school, even some lead teachers helping other lead teachers at other districts I've seen happen this last 4 months. So like somebody could like speak from the heart, not like a scripted, we know this is challenging and, we're going to, and we've all got to step up, but just something that's real, just short, real, from the heart, not produced or anything like that, but just like a cell phone, quick video or something like that of the leadership speaking from the heart and sort of setting the tone just before they click on that spreadsheet. So they have this idea in their head of, wow, this is a challenge. We're all going to rise to the challenge. The people, in the central office that created this spreadsheet, they're doing it, because I just watched the video and they're talking about how we've all got to step up to this challenge and how we are going to, as a whole group, be held accountable for figuring this out. And, the hours and the ADA may be taken back if we can't support this in documentation. And something else we may say to the teachers in that video right before they click on the spreadsheet is this simple reality is something that just came to me. It's like you can talk about that Senate Bill 98 or whatever it was and all the bullet points of what we need to do and what we're being held accountable for and all that stuff. That's one angle to come at it from, but a very simple, very heartfelt angle, communication that might really sink into their hearts would be like, man, it's been easy without distance learning. If the kid shows up in the classroom and you mark that kid as present and that kid's in the classroom for those 4 hours or 6 hours, it's a no-brainer. The kid was at school, you get paid for the kid being at school. It was simple. But now with distance learning, everything has changed. It's not clear or simple as to what's going on. And, are like we said, are the kids just sleeping? People in government or outside of us can be asking, well, are these kids just sleeping in till 2 PM and not even doing anything? And we're paying for these kids to be in school when they're not really in school? It's like, those are all legitimate questions because of the nature of this distance learning and the fact that the kids are at home and the fact that we don't have, it's not this self-contained classroom sort of idea. So, from that perspective, it's like, wow, we really want to do what we can to, I don't want to say cover our butts, but to basically be responsible for, here's the action we're taking, here's what we know that is going on, especially, so that when all those questions legitimately come up, we don't feel defensive. We're just like, yeah, here's what we're doing, and here's the documentation about what we're doing, and it's no stress and it's all good, and it's just like business as usual. Don't do it the way I just did it. That's a terrible roundabout way of saying it, but some way to communicate that we we like from the teacher's own best interest is like we really want to fill out the spreadsheet because we want to not worry about that sort of stuff. We want our jobs to be secure and we want the ADA to stick and all that sort of stuff. So something along those lines, if that could be communicated in like 1.5 or 2 minutes by somebody, that might set the tone in a really good way, so that teachers go into this tracking spreadsheet positive, seeing it as an opportunity, seeing it as something that supports them. That one little, like, if everything else I'm saying is babbling, that one little 2-minute video by somebody might, across 300 teachers that are about to see that spreadsheet the first time, if most of those 300 see that video the first time before they touch that spreadsheet, it may shift their mindset a little bit or a lot. And you think about how that ripples out through the organization and the energy of the whole thing that we're up against. I mean, it's high leverage. That may make a really big difference. I was just thinking about how real the Zoom meeting was with all of us and how real Scott was. And I just love his personality and I love how authentic he is. And I love how honest everybody was. And they're just speaking from their heart about the challenge that we're up against. And I thought, man, if all 300 teachers could see the heart that is behind. Now I'm going to get all emotional. Anyway, could see the heart that was behind coming up with a spreadsheet and coming up with this tracking, and that it's not administration or the man watching over, anything like that. It's like this is the loving heart of the organization trying to figure this out for everybody's best interest. If the energy of that Zoom meeting could be shown to those teachers right before they access that spreadsheet, then I think that would be a heart connection and it could make a big difference. And I know, it doesn't make sense to put a Zoom meeting or something like that for 5 or 10 minutes for them to watch. They're busy. They probably want to get to that spreadsheet and stuff like that. But I'm like, who could convey a message from the heart, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, that makes that difference, that's that pivot point that really makes the tipping point psychologically, from fear to challenge, from fear to collaboration and mutual support. So I don't know, I've got listed here, I'm like, you've got Ted, who's great at speaking to people. He does those videos just, for each of the classified meetings. I get to watch him do those videos, those State of the Nation videos. But maybe Ted could speak to this. And I know that's like, it could be a big production thing and we don't have time, and then communications has to edit the video and all that sort of stuff. It could be, so maybe it's not doable. But on the other hand, Ted could just record it from the heart, from his cell phone, and give it to communications, or he could give it to me and I can edit that thing in an hour and have that ready for posting. So it could be a big production, or it could be a trivial, simple thing. I don't know. And then I thought, like, Merlene could say something if she felt like saying something. And then I'm just going down the ladder. Like Mary Ellen could say something. And then it's like Scott, Peggy, and Rich all have great personalities. And then you've got Christopher and Vicky from the central office, and sort of behind the whole spreadsheet thing. So it'd be good to hear their perspective or angle. And then you've even got Yvonne, who we could bring into the conversation, and she could say something, about how she supports this idea, or supports everybody in the challenge. So sort of this coming together. And then I know under the area directors, you've got the principals, and under them, you've got the lead teachers. And if you gave everybody 2 minutes to speak, you'd have a 30-minute video. And once again, I don't know that would work. I don't know that teachers will watch the whole thing. I don't know. So, do you want to have, one person do it? Or do you want to have a couple people do it? Or do you want to get Ted, Merlene, Mary Ellen, Yvonne, Christopher, Vicky, Scott, Peggy, Rich, couple of the principals or all the principals, or whoever wants to contribute? Oh, this is an interesting idea. And maybe some lead teachers, and maybe some teachers like Angela and Cheryl Hines and whoever. Do you want to get everybody on a Zoom call with the point of the call just being a short discussion and a short message about coming together to step up to this challenge? And then, we just cut out the 5 minutes or the 6 minutes of that Zoom video, that Zoom recording, just edit it down to 4 or 5 or 6 minutes, or just cut out the key pieces and put together a sort of a montage of the key statements by people, and have that as a little 4 or 5 minute video. Sorry for all those sounds. It's all the reminders on my phone going off. But have those key sort of parts of the Zoom get together be the video that the teachers watch before they click on that link, before they first go to that tracking distance learning log spreadsheet. So I don't know. I don't even know if you guys have watched this to the end of this, because it's probably been 15 minutes by now or more. But I had some ideas. I thought they might be good ideas. I don't know, maybe not, but I figured I'd throw them out. And the reason I'm doing it in a video to you is it completely informal and impromptu with my cell phone, is like, that's one of the ways that it could be done quickly and easily. Any of you could just record yourself selfie style, just saying your 30 seconds or 1 minute. Hey teachers, here's blah, 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 blah. I love you guys. Let's do this. And then we could send those selfie videos to communications or to me. I've got a whole video editing suite. And we could just cut it together. Or record the Zoom meeting with all the key players coming together from the heart with a communication to you, the teacher, who is now really on the front lines. And maybe the pairs fit in. I don't know who all is feeling the intensity. This may be for more than just the teachers, but I'm thinking that distance learning log, the teacher sitting down to fill that out the first time, having all that frustration and fear and overwhelm. How can we seize that moment to shift the entire organization from negativity to stepping up to the challenge? I don't know. That's my 2 cents, my 2,000 cents. I'm going to cut the video now. I love you guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll talk to you soon. All right. Bye.